local dealer at interstatebatteries.com.
1250 WTMA.
Tara on TMA.
Do you have health care? Like, do you have health care through where you work? All right, well, this is for you. I got to ask you a question. What do you think it costs? I mean, do you know what your health care costs? Like your health care plan, your whole thing. When I say your whole thing, I mean like your premiums. Like, what is your plan? What is the value of your plan? What's it cost? I mean, do you even know how much comes out of your paycheck to pay for it? Yeah, well, the Obama administration in passing Obamacare took a bet that nobody knew. And I didn't. I was working for another radio station at the time, had to go to the HR director and ask her. I said, well, I've got a family of 4. At the time I did. And I want to know what's my healthcare plan cost. It was $13,000 and some change, almost $14,000 a year for my family. And I said, oh my gosh, wow. How much of that am I paying? About $4,000. Company's picking up almost $10,000 of the tab. I had no idea. So she went on to go, yep, okay, now think about this. If the company drops you, and I've explained this before, if the company drops you, that $10,000 was part of your compensation. It's gone. We'll just pay a $2,600 fine on your behalf. And we'll keep the change, which is like $7,500. You don't get it anymore. It's ours. We keep it. Wow. Yeah. See, that's the deal middle-class Americans are getting from Obamacare. But they haven't figured it out. And I long debated whether they ever will figure out that they just took it on the chin. They just literally, it's like if you made $50,000 a year and had no health care plan, the government coming in and saying, oh, well, Tara, you make $50,000 a year. We're going to go ahead and take 7 of it and keep it. Thank you very much for playing. No, in addition to the taxes you pay. You notice that, right? Yeah, well, they're betting you won't notice. It won't dawn on you that your health care plan was part of your compensation. I bring this up because of this article by Bloomberg.com, finally printing what I have been saying, and I got the numbers almost exactly right to the penny. This is right now. Take a listen to this. This is from the Kaiser Family Foundation. They're a liberal think tank and a big backer of Obamacare. Family of 4 earning $75,000. Now think about that. That sounds like a lot, but it's not. That's like mom makes $37,000 and dad makes $37,000. That's like the heart of the middle class. They got 2 kids. They're paying $1,300 a month like we are in daycare. Costs. They're pretty broke by the time they pay out everything. Okay, well, what will it cost them if they get dropped by their employer and they got to pay out? According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, family of 4 earning $75,000 will pay a total, get this, for their health care plan in annual premiums and copays and deductibles of about $15,000. What you say? 50 what? Yeah, 15. Mm-hmm. You have that? That's with the government subsidy. That's the question I'm asking you today. Family of 4 earning $75,000 bill, $15,000 a year. Now people are, copays and deductibles. I don't use that a lot. It doesn't matter. See, the deal that, do you remember everybody wondering, why would the insurance companies go along with this health care? Yeah, because part of the agreement was that the deductibles that you pay would shoot through the roof. So, these days of the $30 copay, those are gone. It's going to cost a lot of money. You're going to have extremely high deductibles. This is why our deductibles are going through the roof already. It's in anticipation of Obamacare. So basically, you're going to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a year for your health care, and you're not going to be able to go to the doctor. It's kind of like it is right now. Okay, so family of 4 earning $75,000 will pay a year, by law required, thanks to Supreme Court Justice Roberts, about $15,000 for their health care plan. Okay, so if you're a single, say 40-year-old, making $30,000 a year, what's your cost? It's almost $6,000, $5,700. Your 60-year-old making $40,000, you're going to be paying about $7,000. Yeah, because you don't qualify for Medicare. So think about that in a minute. Somebody making $40,000 a year, paying out $7,000 for a healthcare plan, single person, not family, single person. And ask yourself this, can you pay that? And here's the other question I want to ask you. All right, family of 4 earning $75,000, $15,000 a year Obamacare cost. Now, That's right now. Okay. So the guy, he's a liberal economics graduate student who basically wrote Obamacare. He's come out in the last couple of weeks and said, kind of figured wrong. Anticipate family of four is be about a $17,000 a year cost for Obamacare. Then because you got to pay for standard flux birth control, you got to pay for everybody's 26-year-old baby to be on. I mean, it's expensive. It's going through the roof. Cost of healthcare. Some of it is inflation, and some of it is the added cost of Obamacare. So my question is, what are you going to give up to come up with your $15,000 a year? I'm not talking like a vacation. You can cut that, and maybe you go down to one car, maybe, or you could just forego health insurance entirely and become an absconder. A tax cheat. Could do that too. That's an option. Andy from North Charleston, what's on your mind? What are you going to do?
Well, my wife just changed jobs, and she started her new job today.
Mm-hmm.
2 months, we have to be on Cobra.
Yeah.
And the Cobra for my wife and I and our 22-year-old daughter in Florida is $1,700 a month.
Mm-hmm. That's about right.
We were paying $500 a month, when she had the job with the company, but the actual cost was $1,700 a month, and of course we had no clue it was that. But that's the real world.
Yeah, it is the real world. $1,700 a month, huh?
I know.
Wow.
You only have to pay it for 2 months, and she makes right in that area that you were talking about, family of four.
Yeah, I bet you were as shocked as I was to find out what we pay for these healthcare plans.
I knew it was high, but I didn't think it was that high.
It is. It's that high. Now you probably had a upper end healthcare plan. You probably had the gold plated. That is on the higher range of plans, but still, I mean, it'd been $15,000, $13,000 to $15,000 range for your family is kind of the average.
Well, I'm even looking right now on the copay for an office. It's $30, but for the ER, it's $175.
Oh, so you're still on the copay system. See, what they're doing now in anticipation of Obamacare is these plans where you still pay about the same a month. This is what I've been on the last two places I've worked. And then they give you a $7,000 a year per family deductible. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, so we pay for health insurance, but we only think of it as like, okay, if my husband has a massive heart attack, we'll use it.
Right.
I mean, that's about what it is.
Oh, I know. 30 years ago when I worked for GE, I think I paid $80 a month, and I never used it. I mean, it's just totally different today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally out of control. Okay, so Andy, this is a question. What are you going to give up in order to come up with, from your family budget, in order to come up with the, $15,000 to $17,000 a year you will need to pay for your health care plan in order to not become a tax cheat?
That's easy. You obviously don't buy the new car you thought you were going to buy, and you're not going to go to Outback on Friday night like you used to, and those are the things you're going to have to do.
Yeah, family vacation's going to have to go, I'm thinking.
Yep. Sometimes going to make the best.
Yeah, so that's why I've long argued, having come from Myrtle Beach, that that area was going to be devastated by the implementation of Obamacare, because the first thing that's going to go is the family vacation. I tried to warn my liberal co-host, but he insisted it was free, so we never could get past that. Andy from North Charleston, thank you so much for giving me a call today. Okay, so I'm getting emails in on this. And the people this hurts the worst, and she's right. It's a woman. She's talking about, well, I make you make $30,000 a year, so you're like right above the cutoff for Medicaid. Yeah. She's like, wow, I got to come up with like, $5,000 a year. It's for almost $5,000 a year. Yeah, you do. It's gonna make you poor. It's gonna hurt. And I'm waiting for Americans to figure this out. I can't wait to talk about it. Now, I'm going to go back to the phone in a second, but first, I want to read you something. It says, you figure this is probably just a bunch of my old conservative talking points that don't know what I'm talking about. Don't take my word for it. Take Dick Durbin's word for it in Bloomberg. Now, Dick Durbin is a senator from Illinois. He's a big-time Democrat and one of the biggest backers of the health care law. You want to know what he said to Bloomberg about this? There's a legitimate concern that health care will remain unaffordable for some. For who? For the poor? No, they're fine. No big deal. And go in there, pay your 30-cent deductible, $3.30 deductible, whatever, and you're fine. So she's sitting in my seat that I used to have because I work, and now I don't qualify for health care because I'm too poor. Okay, so the poor not hurt. So who is it that Dick Durbin of Illinois has a legitimate concern will no longer be able to afford health care? That would be you, the middle class. I'm just going to read it from Bloomberg, okay? Lawmakers sought to protect the poorest, yet weren't able to offer as much help to others as they would have liked because of budgetary constraints, says Dick Durbin. We did all we could do. And now there's a legitimate concern that healthcare will remain unaffordable for some. No, you made it unaffordable. They made it unaffordable for the middle class. This is, it's devastating. I'm not trying to alarm you. I'm trying to prepare you. This is, again, it's not me saying this. This is the Kaiser Family Foundation. This is Senator Dick Durbin. This is a problem. Here's Karen Pullitz, right? She's the senior fellow at the Kaiser Family Foundation. She's talking to Bloomberg. Google the article. I put this up on my Facebook page. It's up on both of them. People are often surprised at how expensive health insurance is once they have to pay for it on their own. Yeah. The subsidies will make that better, but they won't make the cost disappear. Well, how bad is that? Get this. Buried in the Bloomberg article. Like, how bad? I mean, if you're middle class, how bad are we talking? By 2019, it was 5 years into Obamacare, some families, they say, could see their premiums. That's like the bill you pay for your health care plan. Climb 4 times as quickly as the help they receive from the government. Well, yeah, because the health care plan by 2019 is going to cost $20,000 a year for a family of 4 making $75,000. So the topic today is, what can you cut from your family budget to come up with, if you're a family of 4, $15,000. If there's, like 3 of you, you maybe want to come up with, 12 or 13. Where are you going to come up with that if you get dropped? Kerm from west of the Ashley. Hey, Kerm. Maybe he's not there. Okay, we'll put him back on hold. Yeah, what are you going to cut? So I'm figuring, okay, we're going to have to pay off our cars. My husband was talking about when we had the 3rd child, well, we should get a caravan. And I was like, well, no, I mean, we got to keep our paid off cars. So we have the 3 seats smashed together in the back. And it really was quite a feat to get them all in there. I mean, they're not actually technically supposed to fit, but we did it. I can't tell you how. I'm not quite sure it's legal. But we couldn't afford. I said, we cannot take on another car payment. This is going to slam us. We've got to have our cars paid for when this Obamacare goes into effect in 2014. And he said, the Supreme Court will never go for that. Well, they did. See, smart. And again, I'm telling you this not because I want to alarm you or depress you, but because you need to be prepared for this. This is not going away. This is going to hurt the middle class. And this, there is a reason for this. There is a reason that Dick Durbin, Democrat senator, is now running around admitting this is going to hurt the middle class. Admitting, quote unquote, there's a legitimate concern that healthcare will remain unaffordable for you. Why would Dick Durbin do that? Why would he want to say that? Because it's okay to admit that now. It's not going anywhere. See, once the middle class figures out that healthcare is unaffordable to them, you're going to have millions and millions of middle class Americans uninsured for the first time because they simply can't pay. You're a family of 4 making $75,000 a year. You don't have $15,000 cold hard cash. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to be with Dick Durbin. You're going to be saying, well, this is unaffordable. I need the government to help me. I need government help. And by that, I mean Medicaid. Yeah. There's no accidents here. This is deliberate. Hey, Ike in North Charleston.
Hey, young lady. I'm sorry to hear about your trials and tribulations. I've been through it myself. I've buried my parents and an ex-wife, and I went bankrupt over the medical bills. I've been all the way through the mill, and it definitely is not easy. And, I guess the best thing I can recommend is if you have a chance to make peace with them while they're lucid, and you get your final thoughts in and you're able to communicate, that's the best thing you can hope for. And other than that, I hope you don't go bankrupt over it. And, I hope it's a peaceful transition to whatever's waiting on me beyond. I mean that sincerely.
Well, thank you.
And beyond that, I'll be honest with you, this argument over healthcare cost or cost of living or your power bill or anything else, it still comes down to the same thing. There's an awful lot of people in this country that are living on an unlivable wage. And you can say whatever you want, but the statistics bear me out. And the statistics show that, no matter how much we give to the top end and how much more money they make, and the promise they're going to create jobs and the promise that this and that and the other thing, overall, to me, what I've seen, and I was raised with the work ethic. I'm 53 years old, to the point that, I was taught that, when you come home after a day's work, you spend 30 minutes thinking about your job, and you figure out how you could do it better and more efficient. Mm-hmm. And, if there's anything you can do to help that company make more money, you'll make more money. And I was also taught that, you go to work, you leave 30 minutes early. So if you have a flat tire or something of that sort, you still make it to work on time, okay? Mm-hmm. I was raised right. There's no two ways about this. But what burns me is when I sit here and look at what we live in today, I have no problem with anyone making a profit. I have no problem with anybody, as a matter of fact, making as much money as you want. But if you lose sight of the fact that you can't have chiefs without Indians, and the Indians have to live, I'll put it to you in the down south vernacular that I was raised in. You know what? If you don't feed your hunting dogs, they ain't getting out from underneath the porch.
Well, yeah, but okay. But here's the thing, Ike. What you say about unlivable wage is certainly true, and it's not just. It's $75,000 with Obamacare in effect is now an unlivable wage. When I am going to have to pay $15,000 a year, again, according to the liberal Kaiser Family Foundation, so it's probably worse than they're saying. That's an unlivable wage in America.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. You know what happened to when it comes to health care, you know what really happened with their business model that really put the pinch on everybody? Is when you brought in not only insurance companies that want to make a profit and pay dividends and pay their execs, but when you brought in the hedge fund managers to that part of our economy, to the point that, you know what? They're going to squeeze every dime, to the point that...
Well, they have to. Do you know what their profit is? Do you know what the average insurance profit company health insurance profit?
What about Rick Scott in Florida? That man should be in jail for what he did.
No, I don't. But do you? Can you tell me what the average health company profit annually is in this country? Do you know?
I don't have those. It
averages between 1.9 and about 2.4%.
Okay, and on how much money?
Well, it doesn't matter the scope of it.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You're right. No.
Well, you mean you have a problem with them doing more business at a profit of 2%?
Listen, the business...
there's no more profit to be taken. There's not...
Okay. Here's the simplified argument for your point, okay?
Uh-huh.
The business of healthcare should not be about business. And when you bring hedge fund managers and hedge fund companies into the equation to where they want to maximize profit, whether it's schools, whether it's healthcare, whether it's public utilities, etc. There's certain segments of this particular society and our life here that you cannot expect to wring maximum profit out of minimum investment, and that's exactly what goes on.
Okay, you and I just simply disagree on this. I think a system that is for profit, healthcare has given us the best healthcare on the planet. And we have survival rates for the top 5 cancers that, exceed European countries by percentage points like tens of, not 5%. It's like radical. Our 5-year survival rate for prostate cancer, 60% higher than the UK. The private sector saves lives. And so you and I just disagree on this. But I don't think the problem here is the private sector. I think the problem here is the government. This healthcare costs this much because we can't sell healthcare over state lines. We can't have a true national market for competition. And because we are forced to pay for Sandraflux birth control and people's hair plugs and people's in vitro treatment. And these legislators in these individual states put all these mandates on the 1 to 2 healthcare companies now operating in each state. And the legislators, they have to pay the legislators to be let in. They've got to give them campaign donations. So there's no true competition. It's a mess. We need to go back to true competition with true market. Wall Street Journal wrote an article about a product that was briefly offered. This is genius. Here's all you need. $50 a person a month. Catastrophic health care kicks in at $10,000. Right. And then you have a healthcare insurance policy. They could sell those for as little as $12 a month. What is that? Well, it kicks in. Say you lose your job. You don't have any health care insurance. It's health care insurance. It ensures that you'll have health care. And then once we have catastrophic plans that start at $10,000, people do what I have had to do for the first time in my life in the last year. And you know what that is? Comparison shop. You know where I would have gone, take my kids before the emergency care? Closest to my house. But I can't afford that. I have to pay cash now because I'm on a plan with a $7,000 deductible. So I just get on the phone and start calling. Did you know there is one clinic, pretty good place, here in the Charleston area that charges $100 a visit. All the rest charge about $129 to $135. So for the first time, I'm going to go to the place that's the cheapest to get my health care. And that's how we lower the cost of health care. Competition. Let me give you an example. I bought my son a dune buggy. It's so cool. I know I keep talking about it. It's not a real dune buggy. It's just Fisher Price. Right? And so I have always wanted to get my kids this. And the first time I priced them was for my daughter. It was a couple years ago. And they were running around $399. Do you remember? I thought, I can't afford this. You know, so she never got one. So now I was like, for my son, I said, you know what? I'll Google it. I'll just see, maybe there's a sale. You know what they're at right now? $249. The price is going down. That's capitalism. Oh, and by the way, it has 2 new features. It didn't when I Googled it for my daughter. That's capitalism. I'm so excited. I can't wait for it to arrive at our house. He's going to lose it. I mean, my little boy's just going to pee in his pants. He totally is when he sees that thing underneath the Christmas tree. But I looked and I went, oh my God, we can afford this. I said this to my husband. Listen, we can afford it. Then it wasn't that they were having a sale, that all the costs had come down. That's the beautiful competition of capitalism. And you can see this too in healthcare, and it would happen, but there is no true competition. Let me give you another example of this. And I've told this story before. MRI, if you had to get one, do you have any idea what it cost? Do you know? I bet you don't if you have health insurance. So my husband needed an MRI. He turned out he was okay, but he needed one. We needed to know for sure. So we called up the place where you get to MRI, and we had health insurance. We had a big fat deductible. So I asked the question, what are we going to have to pay? Here's, we had United Healthcare. He said $1,400 out of pocket. Oh, wow. That's a lot. Holy cow. So I called around town, and there's one person at $1,200, one's for $1,450. I don't know. So then I started thinking. And this nurse calls the show, and she says, you know what you do? Call them up and tell them you don't have health insurance. And I was like, lie? She's like, yep, lie. And then ask them what it costs. Okay, cool. So I did. I called the 3 major places for MRI. I said, I need to know what it costs. She says, what health insurance provider do you have? I said, we don't have health insurance. Oh, that'll be about $470. That was the same place that wanted $1,400 if I had health insurance. Most people with health insurance would have never asked. I guarantee you, if we started asking questions about what stuff costs, it'd come down really fast. I'm not saying that's the total answer. It's not, but there are a lot of creative things that we could do that are way beyond a middle-class family of 4 earning $75,000 a year, paying $15,000 a year in healthcare costs, or a 40-year-old earning. This is the bills that kill. Remember John Cougar Mellencamp saying that song, "The Bills That Kill." 40-year-old single person making $30,000 a year will pay $5,600 a year for their health care plan. That's crazy. I mean, that's just so out of control. And we're forced to buy this. We're forced to buy. So I'm really glad that Bloomberg is covering this. And I really look forward to the rest of the media discovering finally, after years, what Obamacare actually costs to implement. It's kind of shocking. By the way, give it some thought over the weekend, going into next week. And I don't know when I'm going to be here next week because my mom is really, really ill. I don't think she's going to be with us much longer. I know I'm going to be with her this weekend, and I don't really know what's going to happen after that. So, next week I may or may not be here, but that's okay because we're going to continue talking about this. This topic's not going to go away. Here's a question. You can email me on this. What is your family going to cut out to be able to afford a $15,000 a year healthcare plan? Love to know. You can reach me, by the way, WTMA.com. Keyword Tara. That's the email, Facebook, and Twitter links. Today's Tara on TMA Morning Show was brought to you by Belk. Shop today at Citadel Mall, Northwoods Mall, Mount Pleasant Town Center, Somerville and Walterboro, modern Southern style. That's Belk.
This is the station the Low Country comes to for the most stimulating talk. 1250 WTMA Charleston, a Cumulus station.
From ABC News, I'm Doug Limerick. It not only did tremendous damage, but that hurricane also dampened spending.
Consumers cut back on their spending in October, and the government